XRP Army? Welcome to the channel. If you're watching the replay of this stream, go ahead and skip ahead to the 4-minute mark. I don't want to waste any of your time, but in the meantime, I'm going to be letting people get into the stream and get everything warmed up, make sure audio is good, make sure video is good, there's no lag or latency issues, just make sure everything's working. So go ahead and skip ahead to the 4-minute mark if you're watching the replay. But we are going to be covering ETF inflows, current price action, what we should be expecting here in the near future, as well as some big regulation news as far as stuff coming out of the Senate. So we have a lot of information to cover. That being said, we're going to wait for some people to get into stream so we can get this thing rolling. I'm going to test out my screens and stuff like that. All right. Let's see. Just make sure everything's working, which it is. Okay. Hopefully we get some people here in the chat. We crossed 1.2 billion in assets under management for XRP now. That is a massive deal. Solana is teasing at some potential partnerships. It's just a lot going on. We got Fed rate cut today. I don't think that's actually going to have a huge impact on price. I was expecting a sell the news event. Price is down a little bit today, but I don't really think that has to do with the Fed rate cut coming today. Just my opinion. Again, not financial advice, and nothing in this stream or in any of my streams is financial advice. It is all for entertainment and educational purposes only. Hopefully I get a couple of my regulars in the stream. We are at 1.5 minutes right now. And for anyone who may have come in, I can't see who's in the stream, who's not. But for anyone who may have come in, we always give it 4 minutes to let people buffer in. So I appreciate your patience. But we always give it a few minutes just to give people time to get in the chat and get the stream going. So hopefully some of my regulars are hopping in here. See, it feels like a very, very slow Wednesday for some reason, which usually is when things decide to pop off. Stephen Hayes says, hello. Welcome, Stephen. Appreciate you for letting me know you're here. Can you let me know how many people we have in the stream? Currently, we're sitting at the 2-minute mark, so we're going to give it another 2 minutes, let people come in and get things going. But we'll cover, as always, the ETF inflows, what's actually being held in the ETFs, as well as the upcoming news. I have a clip from a senator talking about the Clarity Act and what's going on with that. Got some good news there. We got an update for 21 shares. We got new ETFs being announced. We got lots and lots and lots of stuff to cover today. But yet the price isn't moving, right? That's why we're here for the long view, not for what the price is today, tomorrow, next week, but a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, maybe even 20 years from now. I think the chat just may be going slow because no one is talking other than that one hello I got from Steven. Currently, we're sitting at 3 minutes. So again, waiting till the 4-minute mark before we get going, giving people time to hop into the stream before I officially kick things off. But hopefully audio is doing good. Hopefully people are in the stream. Maybe the chat's not working. Sometimes it's delayed. I've heard that as well. But I usually have several of my regulars in here by this point, at least, to let me know we're good to go on that end. But the chat's going slow, I'm guessing. Anyway, we're at 3.5 minutes. So I'm going to give it another 30 seconds and we'll get going here. Just make sure I've got all my ducks in a row ready to go for you guys. Looks like I do. Wow, the chat is very quiet. That's alarming. Can someone tell me how many people are in the stream, at least? Someone engage with the chat. I really hope that's an error or something going on YouTube side. I've got strong stream on my side, so nonetheless, I'll go ahead and get it kicked off. Hopefully people get the stream and the chat warms up, but it is at the 4-minute mark now, so without further ado, good afternoon, XRP Army. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time here, kick back, relax. I'm not going to ask you to do anything, but if it's your second time, you need to make sure you hit subscribe, smash the like button, and engage in the chat. The chat is the lifeblood of the stream. So the way my streams work, I will go through I can't talk today. So the way my streams work, first I'll pull up the chart. We'll go through today's price action and what it may or may not mean for what's happening with the news and the greater macro sentiment. Again, we're here for the long view. The price is just for context, but then we will after that go into the ETF inflows, see what is being locked up. We just crossed 1.2 million for assets under management, as well as We have updates from the U.S. Senate. We have a senator talking about regulation and how close we may be to Clarity Act, and updates from 21 shares. Plus, Solana keeps mentioning XRP like it's going out of style. So there's probably some kind of, the rumor is that some kind of sidechain thing might be happening for XRP and Solana, which would be huge for both. And interoperability is going to be really, really big moving forward in crypto. So that would be massive for both of them. But without further ado, we will hop into the chart. And as you can see, we fell out of the channel that we've been talking about for the last couple of days. And I see Kristen, Steven, and Simple Man in the stream. Thank you very much for letting me know you guys are in the chat. Please engage in the chat, everybody. If you guys want this to get out far and wide and bring more people in, the best thing we can do is engage in the chat, like the video, share the video if you find value to it. But if we want to grow the audience, the best way to do that is to engage. So chat. I go through the chat every single day. But that being said, back to the price action. So we fell out of our channel, which made me start looking at what other options could possibly be forming as far as forming a thesis on the actual chart and what's going on with that. And I always like to zoom out first. So I zoomed out and I saw that we kind of have this triangle going here. If you go all the way back here to November 20th, we do have a nice triangle forming here, and you can actually extend this back even further if you wanted to, and make whatever kind of chart you really want to see. But that being said, this does look like a pattern that is on the rise. We are getting higher lows and unfortunately lower highs, but we are consolidating and coiling right into this area. And that's pretty clear to see from back there between 211 and $2. So this is going to break one way or another. We're going to find out here in the very near future, but this triangle is going to break. This wedge is going to break one way or another. And it looks like it is on the rise with the lower highs, but we will see in the very, very near future. We are here for the long haul, not for what's going to happen tomorrow or next week. Greetings, Desiree. Greetings, three brothers. I see you both. Thank you very much. Yesterday, ETF inflows. There we go. Yesterday, we did 33.65 million. If we refresh now, we're currently sitting at 12.78 million. So not a bad start, but we can go in and look. Let's see if they updated it here. If they updated, no, they haven't updated it here yet as well. So 21 shares, I'll just skip to that since we're talking about ETFs. 21 shares is a step closer. They have done another update with the SEC. Here it is. They filed an updated prospectus for a eagerly anticipated 21 shares XRP ETF TOXR, pushing the product one step closer to gaining its regulatory approval, just in time for a fresh wave of investor interest in crypto-linked exchange-traded products. So for those of you who've been following the saga, the 21 shares XRP ETF just submitted its 5th amendment to its S1. The issuer also decided to be slightly more wallet friendly by lowering its management fee from 0.5% to 0.3%. Quick history lesson, the ETF became auto effective last month, but it's now waiting on a cert filing before it can officially launch. The goal to offer investors a regulated way to gain exposure into XRP while avoiding the labyrinth of crypto wallets. So 21 shares is getting closer. That being said, let's look at what is actually physically being taken off of the market in the ETF. So we are sitting at 78 million for Franklin Templeton. Let's refresh and see what change we have from yesterday. Franklin Templeton is now still at the same 78 million. All right, so no change for Franklin Templeton, but remember they had a massive jump yesterday. It went up like 18 million or something like that. It was a very, very large jump. So Grayscale was at 104 million. Let's refresh and see what Grayscale is at now. Survey says they are still at 104 million, so no change there. Canary Capital was at 169 million. Still at 169 million. Rex Osprey was at 29 million. Remember, it was the first one to actually show outflows of XRP, but they are still at 29, almost 30 million. So they actually added a little bit. And then Bitwise gained another million. They're at 94 million now. So only 1 million gained yesterday, but still no outflows. So that's always positive. Let's go ahead and look at Twitter. I know I don't usually bring this up, but I was getting a lot of questions about. I was getting a lot of questions about exchanges. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm struggling with my head today. If I seem a little bit off, it's a migraine day for me, unfortunately. But let me go ahead and pull up my bookmarks here. Everyone wants to know what's happening with exchanges, how much XRP is held on exchanges. These are two different tweets back to back. And then also the XRP thing I'll get to here in a second. But there's two different tweets or posts on X back to back talking about different exchanges. So this one says it's from Chart Nerd. This is a balance of exchanges. So it's from Glassnode that he got this chart here. So Glassnode is saying there's a $1.35 billion decrease from in the last 60 days from 3.95 billion to 2.6 billion in the last 60 days, marking a 45% reduction. This is according to Glassnode. However, in the same day, we have another tweet talking about a 1.3 billion XRP being gone. So we do have the confirmation of 1.3 billion being gone. This one says it's in a month though. This one says 30 days, but it says it brought the total down from 7.03 billion to 5.7 billion. So we're getting two different totals of what's on the exchanges, but this one's coming from, looks like Crypto Quant was the creator of this chart. So we have Glassnode and Crypto Quant posts from Coin Bureau here, giving us two different totals of what is actually available in exchanges, but they are both reporting 1.3 billion leaving exchanges in the last 30 to 60 days. So that's what we can confirm from this information at this point. However, we were also talking about, I also posted on this too. I did a short on this morning with the WisdomTree index funds going live or getting filed for, putting in their S1 with the SEC for their index fund. XRP is going to hold a 19% weight on this. If you caught yesterday's stream, we were talking about this. I believe I actually said verbatim, I would love to see more index funds with XRP having a heavier weight because I think that's what the masses are going to invest in. They just want broad crypto exposure. I think this is where the wave of money is going to come from, honestly, as far as, 401ks, retirements, all that kind of stuff. How many more XRP ETFs are to go live? Well, currently we are still waiting on WisdomTree's regular spot XRP ETF, and they just also announced this new index fund, and we're going to see a lot of. I really do think we're going to see a wave of these index ETFs as well. Think of it as the same kind of thing of investing in the S&P 500, except that's how people are going to get exposure to crypto. I do think the regular person is going to be more apt to invest in a crypto index versus one or two specific tokens. They'd rather just get broad exposure as opposed to people like us who are researching specific projects. So that's why I think the mass of money is going to be in these indexes. Just again, my opinion, not financial advice, but that's what I think. But speaking of finance, this is from Yahoo Finance talking about whale accumulation. Whales accumulate 340 million tokens while retail panic sells. So this is kind of misleading, which really disappoints me from Yahoo. But this is kind of misleading. So a lot of the mid-tier whale wallets, if you will, the ones that I believe were saying like between 1 and 10 million, they were selling, but the larger wallets were accumulating all of that. And it also said they were all happening over the counter. So we didn't see this buying and selling pressure from the mid whales to the big whales. It was all happening over the counter. And I believe, whales added 340 million tokens while everyday investors sold off. When tokens move from panic sellers to patient buyers with long-term plans, it often sets up the next major price move. Can whale accumulation and long-term conviction push XRP to $5 by 2026? So Yahoo Finance is saying that there's a chance of a bull run for us to go to $5 based on the whale accumulation alone here. And I do think this is still not really truthful because it was more of a shifting from mid-level whales to large whales that wasn't even happening. Oh, it wasn't even happening exchanges. It was all OTC. That being said, let's move on. Let's talk about fun stuff. XRP ETF crosses 1.2 billion assets under management as XRPI and XRPR signal as accelerating institutional demand. So we are not only having consistent inflows, 16 straight sessions of inflows right here. Not only do we have 16 straight sessions of inflows, they are saying that demand is accelerating. We still have 21 shares coming very, very soon, as well as index funds getting filed for. WisdomTree is still hanging out there. This is going to accelerate. It's going to happen. And if you factor that in with getting clarity, oh my goodness, if we can actually get some clarity, and I really hope this volume comes through okay for you all. I'm sorry if it doesn't, but we're going to try it, okay? Because I really want you to hear this.
Structure has been heating up as 2025 comes to a close. CNBC also confirmed that on Thursday, the CEOs of Bank of America, Citi, and Wells Fargo will meet with lawmakers to discuss crypto market structure proposals. And speaking of that crypto legislation, the Blockchain Association Policy Summit's second day took place today in D.C., with speakers including SEC Chair Paul Atkins and several lawmakers. Senators Kirsten Gillibrand, a Democrat, and Cynthia Lummis, a Republican, are two crypto advocates who joined a chat to break down the status of crypto market structure legislation. Senator Gillibrand told the audience this morning that lawmakers are making progress.
Okay, my stream's not wanting to support it for some reason, so I'm going to crash it out. I don't want to lag the stream out. I don't know why it's not wanting to work. But all that being said, we have great movement on clarity. Let's put it that way. You guys can pull that up. It was on CNBC, talking about clarity incoming for us. Nothing is holding back clarity. That's going to be the next move, everyone. Clarity is going to be massive. That is what we are waiting for. Currently, price is at 2065. And again, I saw someone say smash the like button. Yes, do hit the like button. If you guys enjoy the information, if it is helpful, if you like the crypto without chaos mentality and you're here for the long view, hit the like button. Get the word out there. Let's try and get this thing growing, because I don't want to sell hype to grow, and I'm not going to. I refuse. I'm going to give you guys the best straightforward info I can and try to keep it as entertaining and fun as possible in the meantime. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hop into the chat. We have gone through all of the information. That was the last piece I had for you because I covered 21 shares earlier. But yeah, 1.2 billion in assets under management. We have progress going with regulation. We're hearing straight from U.S. senators on that. And on top of that, I didn't even talk about the yen carry trade today. I feel like I've been beating a dead horse on the yen carry trade the last few streams. I mean, I can pull up the chart if we'd like. It's still following suit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the chat, though. Let me see who is here today and what is going on with everyone. We got Stephen Hayes. Welcome, Stephen. We got Kristen Anderson. Hey, dude, welcome. Stephen Hayes said there's 5 people. Simple Man 17551 says he is here. Appreciate you, Simple Man. 3 Brothers 6370 says, how is everyone doing today? Desiree said, greetings, everyone. Here's to a wonderful day. Steven said, after 21 shares, how many XRP ETFs are going to go live? Right now we have 21 shares waiting, WisdomTree waiting, and then we have a lot of index funds, a lot of index cryptos that are starting to go live that also have crypto in it. I touched on one that just went live yesterday on the New York Stock Exchange, but WisdomTree is putting in for one, and we're going to see a lot more of that style moving forward. I really do believe we'll see a lot of these basket style ETFs. Let's see here. Abdiel, maybe? Hopefully I got that right. What do you think about Swift going with Ethereum instead of XRP? I don't think they chose Ethereum yet. I know they were talking about developing something on Ethereum. Again, I don't think it's going to be one winner. I never thought it was going to be one winner. I believe the money will go where the money is made. There's going to be several factors. There's going to be several winners. And we don't need XRP to capture all of Swift. If XRP, from its current position, if XRP were to capture 14%, which is what Brad expected, right? If we were to capture 14% of Swift, I mean, that alone would at least 10x its current valuation of XRP. But if you take that out of it, the real focus is on tokenization and other elements, tradable stocks and things like that. XRP and XRPL XRP is the liquidity that runs XRPL. Doesn't matter where we get the liquidity. It could be from cross-border payments. It can be from stable coins. It could be from tokenized stocks, real estate, derivatives, all of those things. There is many ways for XRP to gain value through the XRPL, and that's one of the reasons why it's so exciting. I never expected for XRP to capture all of Swift's network. That wasn't part of my thesis. I expect them to capture a portion of it, maybe upwards of 25%, I think, on the high end. But even that would still give us a rapid appreciation in price. I hope that answers your question. Desiree says, make sure to hit the like button, everybody. Yes, I would appreciate for everyone to hit the like button. Someone could tell me how many people are in the chat, or how many people are in the stream. The chat's really quiet today. So hopefully everything's working okay. I know it lagged out a little bit when I was playing that video of the senator telling us that it is on the way, that clarity is on the way, doing well. We covered trading news with the ETFs at $1.2 billion of assets under management. We covered retail panic selling with whale accumulation. We also covered the reduction by 40% of XRP on exchanges. Excuse me. Sorry, I was reading the chat here. Swift won't use ETH for liquidity. It'll serve another purpose. Yeah, see, exactly. And then don't forget, the XRP and Solana's been flirting with XRP. Oh, I forgot to show that to you guys. Let me pull this up over here. Here we go. I said I was going to come back to that. So there's another cryptic tweet from Gemini. It says, exploring fast settlement makes every payment feel limitless. So XRPL. So, I mean, this is another cryptic tweet. Solana had another one yesterday saying, flip the switch. I don't know why. Either everyone's just jumping on the XRP army for attention, or there's something about to happen with the XRPL. I'll let you guys decide for yourselves on that. But going on, we talked about 21 shares and their ETF coming up. We talked about the 1.2 billion in assets under management. We talked about the whale accumulation, right? 340 million tokens while retail panic sold over the last 30 days has been 340 million purchased. Massive whale accumulations. It says $7.8 billion worth of XRP was accumulated by large whales. And then we also went over all of the ETF holdings. The only change was Bitwise. I don't know why all of a sudden I start acting like I'm Kripke from Big Bang Theory. But yeah, so Bitwise was the only one that had an increase. They increased 1 million XRP. Nothing else changed. ETF inflows were kind of garbage yesterday. It was really weak. But regardless, even with it being weak, it was still positive. No negative outflows, 16 straight days. That tells you about the institutional buying pressure. All right. So all that being said, I have covered the entire recap. We have covered the entire chat. It's kind of a slow stream today, unfortunately. Todd Madison just hopped in and said, do you think the Fed rate decision will affect XRP in the short term? Lately, the price seems to move with the markets. Yeah, I believe it's going to start moving more and more with traditional markets as we get more and more traditional, ETF inflows and things like that. I've said for a while that I do believe the normal crypto cycles are over. As soon as altcoins started getting ETFs, that's going to end that. And I thought that we might have a run up. I thought we might have a run up in price going into today's Fed rate cut decision, which we are all expecting a quarter basis point cut. And then I thought there would be a sell the news event in the short term, but we didn't have the run up. We had some sell off pressure late yesterday. So more than likely it may have absolutely no impact. But the next thing I'm watching is this triangle here. And again, none of this is financial advice. I'm going to see if we stay in this wedge or if we break out of this wedge or if we bounce off this line here. Is the next thing I'm watching. Again, in the meantime, $2 is still our support and $2.20 is still our resistance. We need to break one of them to establish anything. Otherwise, we're just going to continue to chop around the $2.20 zone like we have been for a while. My opinion, not financial advice. Let's see here. Steven Almogella. Okay. If XRP is listed as a commodity, does it really need Clarity Act to be useful if Japan carry trade fully unwinds? Yes, it does. I believe it does, because you can't use it as a liquidity bridge if you have to pay taxes on it every time you buy and sell it. If it's listed as a commodity, that's how it'll be listed under those same tax laws. It would need to be listed as a bridge asset or cryptocurrency, so it has cleaner tax laws to be used as a bridge asset. So that's why I don't think they can really fully use it as a bridge asset until we have clarity. It's just a logistical nightmare without it. My opinion, not financial advice. Three Brothers asks, can you please explain how Ripple Prime works? Thanks. It's a brokerage. I mean, it is a prime brokerage. It's for people who want to buy and sell large amounts of things. So they need liquidity to move things financially, to move value around. If they want to buy a large chunk of something, they're going to need value in order to do that. So they're going to need large amounts of liquidity to make large size transactions for large players. I guess that's the biggest way I can put it. Plus, it plugs them directly in and gives them access to more financial tools as well. Let's see here. Hopefully that explained it. I try to keep things very basic. I don't think I feel like as long as we have a general understanding of how things work, we can connect the dots. I mean, if you really want to dive deep into the deep technicals, that's maybe a video for another day. I'm pulling it up on AI and doing our research on the deep technicals of how Ripple Prime is impacting. Actually, you know what? Here we go. This is a good idea. Why not? Why not do it? We got nothing better to do. Let's do some research together. Let's take a look here. Let's do a new chat. All right. Oh, it's not pulling it up for you. I'll try to bring it over there. Give me 1 second. Let's see if I can pull this into here. There we go. So let's ask GPT. What impact does Ripple Prime have on XRP? One paragraph summary. Let's see what good old GPT says. It says Ripple Prime strengthens XRP in one very specific and powerful way. It professionalizes and accelerates institutional liquidity flow into the XRP ecosystem. Prime is Ripple's institutional execution and liquidity platform. Think of it as a pro trading desk that banks, funds, corporates, and OTC desks will use to buy, sell, source, or route large volumes of digital assets. When institutions can execute safely with deep liquidity, smart order routing, and integrated treasury tools, it removes one of the biggest barriers to holding or using XRP at scale. Ripple Prime doesn't force institutions to use XRP, but it makes it dramatically easier for them to integrate into payments, treasury, custody, and settlement systems when needed. Over time, as the rails go live and more liquidity moves through Prime, demand for XRP as the bridge assets increases. Exchange supply tightens and price becomes more sensitive to institutional flows, setting the stage for true utility-driven appreciation rather than speculation. Hopefully that answers your question for you. I think that's a better answer than what I was giving, but it's a more detailed answer than what I was saying for sure. Let's pop out of here. Hopefully that answers for you though there, Three Brothers. Crypto Roger say he just picked up 3K more XRP. Good for you, Crypto Roger. Good for you. Steven Mogella says, have you heard of SHX Stronghold? It's XRP's dirty little secret. No, I can't say I have. I'll try to do some research on that at another time. Let's see here. But I think that is all the news. The stream has kind of died down. I think I'm just going to go ahead and call it for y'all. I'm not going to stall for you. But I'll catch you guys on the next video. All right? Later. See you tomorrow.